Well, hello and welcome to the Cool JDM show, streaming live on Pacific Coast Auto.
But Abs,
what up?
Just how cool is it?
Man, so cool I describe it as frigid, cooler than a penguin soaking in an ice bath.
Damn, that's cool.
Yep, you're right about that. Cooler than the fawns, fixing an appliance with nothing more than a smack to the side of it. I'm talking cooler than cool, cooler than a February cannonball into a pool. So cool. Indeed, so cool that it's cold.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The Cool JDM show.
Hello, everybody. It's the Cool JDM show, and I'm your host, Derek Weldon, and I am sitting next to a snack over here of Maximilian Scheffler. What's going on?
Ooh, thank you.
We got a double snack in the back because Grant's with us as usual.
Woo.
Grant the snack, and I promised Jacob that I would call these guys snacks during the show because he put me up to that. That's why. No other reason. I mean, it's probably true, but I gotta say, first off the bat, we scheduled the show wrong today. It turns out that this show is during the regular time, but it was scheduled for 12 hours in the future. So if you are watching this, there has been no sort of time traveling going on.
I'm sorry.
You are here with us at the appropriate time, and it was just a small error on our part why that happened. But thanks everyone for sticking around.
And thanks to Hound Dog for our first ever super chat.
It's not our first ever super chat.
It's the first ever super chat. We had donations before.
What's the difference?
The super chat has a little design with a little icon to it. See?
Okay. First ever super chat, and so do pick the correct one way to give us money. So when you send one of these, you can pick either super chat or donation.
Yes.
Like you have a list of things to call it.
I think you can. I've never donated to any streamer before myself, so I do not know. But
don't make it sound so weird, though. I don't mind if you try to normalize this.
Yes.
Super chat's a normal,
you can
guys.
highlight your chat message with attaching money to it, and then we also get.
It's kind of a weird thing, isn't it? It's like, oh, pay attention to me. I'll pay for that.
Yep. But
I don't know. I'm not part of the streaming generation. I am far too old for that, even though I've got the snack-like good looks. Isn't that right, Max?
Yes.
In today's episode, we're talking about the cars from Initial D. You have loved them for a long time, but how easy is it to buy these from auction in 2026?
Correct.
Also, the most JDM way to handle dog poo on the ground. Nobody likes to see it. There is a way to handle it, and just like everything else, Japan knows what they're doing. Stay tuned for that one. We also have some cool JDM auction picks this week, including 11, which you personally thanked Grant for adding this morning.
Yes.
Yes.
It was 11.
Yeah, this will be interesting to talk about. I'm excited for this one.
As well, one of the other icons from Toyota in the 80s, or in this case, very early 90s, a Toyota Soarer with that lovely digital dashboard. Very cool. PCA also was accused of stealing. Did you? I didn't talk to you about that. We got an email, and and I saw that you were copied on it, but neither of us talked about it yesterday.
Nope,
so
we were both
we'll talk about it first time on the show
okay.
today.
Yep.
And of course, at the end, we've got questions from you guys. There's also other stuff not mentioned, just to keep you guys on your feet while watching the Cool JDM show.
The suspense.
With the double snack attack. We also have JDM snacks again. We're bringing it back. We will be going over this and tier listing it. The only reason I added this is because my wife absolutely adores this snack. Mm-hmm. And although it's a new snack, it's just getting its footing. I think it's going to take over the tier list. It is very good.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so looks like we got a bunch of the regulars in the chat. If you aren't a regular, then welcome, and feel free to use the chat anytime that you want. If you do have questions, of course, we're going to answer those.
And we do not have questions from the last show, so you know what you need to do in the chat.
Yeah, ask some very deep, difficult questions. Somebody asked last week what our favorite movies are. And I didn't have a good answer, but then after the show, I thought about it. So I want to express my love for a specific movie today.
He wrote a whole paragraph in our notes on it.
I could write a whole paragraph, but this was just notes in the size of a whole paragraph.
Yeah, that's true.
It will be even longer than you expect it to be. But I really think I have a problem with a lot of movies, and then I I have long thought that this movie kind of fixes all of the problems that I hate with movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there are.
Okay.
I have a laundry, and this is why I don't like movies very much. I have a laundry list of hatred toward a lot of popular movies, and then a lot of the like. Sorry, it's not really the time to be talking about this in our schedule. Try to keep a schedule, Derek. I think that many movies that are trying to be different from mainstream movies also screw it up by being intentionally weird.
Different, yeah.
And it's very unlikely that you get a good movie that tries to stray away from the tropes of regular movies.
Hound Dog says, gotta guess what that movie is. So yes, do that.
If you
on
do
the
guess
course.
it, I'll give you $50.
Oh,
Credit for your account, but must be used to buy one of the cars that we go over on the show.
oh,
Actually,
that's the
we'll
caveat.
we'll up it to 10,000 yen.
Isn't that $50?
It's more. It's like $68.
Yes. Guess Derek's favorite movie. It's not Motorcycle Export.
Did someone say that?
Yep.
Happy Feet is close.
Okay, let's jump into
Derek's favorite movie is Motorcycle Export. It's just a live stream of a motorcycle in a container.
We still have the music playing in the background, by the way.
Oh, shoot. Grant, can you turn the music off?
We have a classical music day today.
Yeah, every once in a while I get too tired of listening to the heavy metal that I usually put on. I want to be putting on the heavy metal. I know nobody likes it, so.
It's more punk rock that's usually played, right?
The good news about the classical is it's probably royalty free.
Oh, let's see. Anyway, main topic. We're here to talk about something that's
Yeah, everyone drops off. These guys promised to talk about Initial D cars, and they're just dicking around on the internet.
yes.
Okay, so the cars from Initial D. Should you buy Initial D cars from Japan? And we're going to get into that. And
The
actually,
answer is yes, of course.
you and Grant know Initial D way, way, way more than I do. So you guys can fill me in on the Initial D things. My knowledge of Initial D ends at like 2006. Me and my wife watched the first 4 seasons. That ended in 2006. Then we moved to Japan and never watched Initial D after that.
To be honest,
Okay.
mine's about the same. Like, I was religiously into the books and the shows up until about 4th stage in 2006, 2007, and then I dropped off too. So I can
I
go
think-
up to a point.
I think fourth stage is peak.
You think so?
Yep.
I thought
Fully
first
agree.
stage was peak, and then it went down from there.
So the first.
Hold on. For those who don't know what Initial D is, in case that's you, I'm doubting that you don't know what it is, but it is an extremely popular street racing / street drifting series of both manga and anime here in Japan. It has gotten so popular that pretty much all car guys know it. It is a very technical and very nerd level production, which is great for those people who are real, true car people, because it gets into a lot of stuff that is usually well below surface level, and for that reason, a lot of people do adore it. It does strike a balance between fantasy and reality fairly nicely, but it does stray into the fantasy a little bit because a bunch of it isn't really that An 8.6 is out there beating skylines isn't something that really happens.
The farther you go on into it, the less grounded it gets, for sure.
And of course, the main car from that is the AE86, the Toyota, in North America called the Toyota Corolla GTS. Here in Japan called the Toyota Sprinter Trino, or the Corolla Levin, which is also the grandchild of my car. Because I got a 72 Levin. Just thought I'd drop that again. How you like
every
that?
Every show.
And I have had one of these cars, the 8.6. Fantastic car. Grant has had one. And it's a lot of the reason why people love the car now, but not exclusively. But of course, because it is such an important part of the car guy / car girl ethos, it has probably raised the price of the car. This anime and manga has probably raised the price of this car, as well as several of the other cars that are in the series and predominantly displayed.
I would like to say that Initial D was not the only reason the 8.6 was popular. It was popular way before Initial D became a thing. and was featured as the hero car because it was already something that was popular with young people. So, yeah, it just popularized it on another level. The other thing that initial depopularized, which I find very funny, is Eurobeat.
Oh, right. Like
It's
Car
the
Guys and
single-
Eurobeat.
It's the single
Totally goes
reason that Eurobeat is somewhat known outside of Japan.
What's Eurobeat? Explain this to me, because you explained it before and I didn't really know.
So Eurobeat is a Japanese take on European disco music from the early 90s. And it was predominantly produced by Dave Rogers in the beginning, who is an Italian producer.
So an Italian producer producing a Japanese version of a European sound.
What the Japanese people who give it to who make the contract with him think would sound like something that's European, and then more and more people and Japanese artists came into that genre and did their thing.
And now it's seen as like if somebody puts on Eurobeat, people know. They're like, oh, that's
The initial D music,
sound.
yeah. But it's become, you can listen to the whole soundtrack ironically, but I also feel like you can listen to it for real.
I love the first. It's actually good, but also dumb. It strikes a great balance between that.
Yeah.
So the manga started in 1995 and the anime started in 1998. And this surprised me, actually. They did the one series for 18 full years. That's absurd.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just finished reading all of Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball Z. Not Super or GT with my son. We do it as a bedtime story.
Mm-hmm.
That was only 10 years. And Dragon Ball is like, oh, this has been around my entire life kind of thing.
Yeah, one of the big ones, yeah.
Initial D is nearly twice as long. That's absurd. And it only takes place in a short amount of time in the story world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it like 3 years or 4 years
3
or something?
years.
Yeah, it's very interesting as well, because like you kind of have to set aside a lot of disbelief from that, because in the beginning it's all very late 80s, early 90s cars, and then suddenly by the end you have, you know, things from the mid 2000s that are suddenly a part of the story world now. That I think the initial assumption is that it would have been set in the time when it was published, right?
Yeah.
And
What's the newest car? Like
probably
2003 or something like that?
No, 86. At the end of the show, there was the ZN6 in there.
What was the first year?
I don't
of
know
the
if I count the
2012.
Although it was in the last one of the book as
That's
well.
cheating.
I think the last page of the last issue.
Yeah, the ZN6 just came out when that was released. So
Yeah.
it was kind of like the license plate at in the last shot says 3986. So Sankyu Hachiroku.
Oh, cute.
Yeah,
I like
so I
that.
think
kind
it's
of like a little homage at the end.
the setting is amorphous in time.
Yeah, which I think is fair enough. You want to bring cool cars in there, so why not?
Yeah, and plus you're going to be like trying to like
Gauge interest.
well, I think that because the series went on for so long, it's hard to think of new stories without having an like iconic new car as something to draw attention to it, perhaps.
Also, I want to point out, since you said it ran for 18 years, was it 2016? They released the Legend series, and that was a remake of the first season in
Right.
like 3 movies. So they still had money to do something like that.
Yeah, because they're
There you
milking it for everything.
Yep.
Okay, two points of the. I was thinking about this topic, and two things really stuck out. Grant told me, and Grant, you can back this up now that you're live.
Yo,
Initial D manga is not about drifting, but the anime they made drift in a drifting style because it's going to be more suitable to the mainstream, I suppose.
I think also just for an animated series, like it looks a lot more interesting to have, you know, massive angle and everybody's on full lock in every corner and everything. But the books are very much about kind of like rally techniques and grassroots. Like it is much more zero counter 4-wheel drift, like low angle.
Go fast.
Right. It is much more about actual racing techniques.
I
than it
didn't know
is-
that.
Yeah.
Like years and years of knowing the series, thinking it was about drifting, and thinking the biggest oversight in this is that they're racing on the streets and yet they're going sideways because that's not the fastest way to go down the hill. And I just thought, oh, that was, you know, It was
Yeah.
a decision made by the producer of it to garner interest in drifting or bring people who are interested in drifting into this series.
Yeah. And it's not that there's none of that in the books. Like, it is still a technique that is presented, but it's in a much more grounded way.
I mean, if you look at rally techniques and rally drivers, they drift. It's not drift, it's power sliding, but they yank the handbrake to go around tight U-turns. So
Yep. Sure, yeah.
there's a reason for them to do it.
And the other point of interest is that for being a drifting show, I'm going to air quote drifting because it's not
Thank
really
you.
about drifting.
Mm-hmm.
The most iconic drifting cars aren't in the series.
Correct.
So the JZX80, JZX90, JZX100, that's the Chaser Cresta Mark II,
Not in the series.
Verosa. Not in the series at all, which is an iconic drift car. As well, I mean, the Silvia's in there. It is a common drift car, but the
Like the big-
JZZ Soarer also not in there as
Yeah.
well.
The big body drifter cars are not in there.
Yeah, and come the like mid 2000s, those were the two most common drift cars. Maybe less so the Soarer, but it was still extremely up there. Nowadays, they're too rare to really find drifting. And I don't follow drifting myself, so I'm not sure what people drift nowadays anyway.
8.6.
Yeah, because there's only a few. There's the Fairy Lady, the 8.6. What else?
Yeah.
What else without doing a transmission swap? Okay, so let's get into this. We got a list of what we deemed to be the most popular cars from Initial D. We got a list of about 20 different cars of the 100 plus cars that they have in the series.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so some of these are, if you're thinking, what about this car? What about that car? Some of them we had to cut just for time reasons and because maybe they only play a minor part of Racer 2.
Yeah.
To me, whatever was in the first season are the most memorable ones.
Mm-hmm.
First, second season, kind of.
Mhm.
After that, I kind of like, it had the Dragon Ball problem of, oh no, a new challenger comes and they're more powerful than anyone ever before,
Now we need to find.
but they still get beat.
Okay. In the chat, Hound Dog is asking, is this another tier list? No, it is not. We have looked at the cars that we selected, and then Grant meticulously searched the last 3 months of auction results to give you an idea how many cars are available, roughly, like how available is each of the cars, and how much they are roughly at auction. in
So
Japan.
basically what we're looking at is in this day and age, how easy is it to purchase this car in terms of money and in terms of finding one that you want in good condition. So we'll start with the iconic car, and we got pictures of all of these just to keep you guys interested.
For
Y'all
my
know what
favorite
car
scene.
this is. It is the 8.6, of course, the Trudeau version of the 8.6. And we bought ours for 2,400 Canadian dollars.
Nice. I bought mine for $2,000 US.
We bought ours in 2004.
2008 for me.
I haven't bought one yet because I can't afford that.
You can live by, well, no, you've got the Altezza, which is a spiritual successor to the
Mhm.
8.6. So take that. Takumi's 8.6, the iconic car. He drives the same car throughout the entire series. He does switch the engine in it. You will find them at auction semi-frequently compared to the other cars. In the last 3 months, there were 20 of them for sale at USS auctions.
And that is specifically the Trueno only, by the way.
So Levin adds, I think the Levin might be a little bit less common than the
Yeah,
Trueno.
I believe with both of them, it comes up to somewhere in the mid-30s.
I would say that finding them isn't so much of an issue, but now they are cars from the early 80s. They're going to be in rough condition, and it's going to be hard to find one that doesn't need a decent amount of work or hasn't been turned into a race car, because these were extremely popular race cars for grip driving here in Japan, as well as drifting. But like the drifting kind of lost the sauce with this car a little bit, and it went into the more powerful, turbocharged cars that are more suitable. Immediately, the Silvia took precedence, and then it went into the JZX cars.
Like if you're doing competitive stuff, that chassis just requires so much work to be competitive that it mostly got ditched in any of that sense. But I feel like as a weekend car to have fun, still very good.
And still, despite the age, pretty easy to keep alive because people are keeping parts on the market for them. And so you can do engine swaps with later versions. Many of them have already had the engine swaps. They're mechanically very simple compared to modern cars. And so it's pretty easy to restore one of these, I would say, in the grand scheme of all of these different cars. Prices. Start at 2 million yen and go up to 6 million yen. 6 million yen will get you an ultra good one.
6 million is one that I have seen them sell for this much. It is exceptionally rare. You're talking for like high grade 3.5, grade 4 with the neighborhood of 100,000 verified kilometers.
That's most of them are going to have unknown mileage, actually.
Correct. And most of them have been crashed multiple times.
And rust repaired. Don't forget that.
Or rust not repaired.
In all states, you can get them. Like, what is Alexei in his recent video? He said that the rust holes are just like an on-track tire condition checking window. So, yeah, you can do that if you want.
I love Alexei's 8.6. I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
The fact that it's in such trashy condition but still has the 3S swap is fantastic.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Next car, the other iconic hero car. Of the two hero cars in it, it is Takumi's rival, I suppose you could say, but also teammate.
Yep.
And it is Keisuke's FD. This one here is the latest iteration of it, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And this is his RX-7. It surprised me how many of these are at auction, actually. They are quite easy to find at auction.
Yep.
103 compared to the 8.6's 20 or technically 35 or so.
In the last 3 months, 103.
So 3 times as many come up for auction. I do have a theory about this. I think that the FD, not so much of a race car as the 8.6 is. I think 8.6 is maybe 30-40% of them are ex-race cars, whereas the FD isn't as commonly used in racing or drifting, and more so as a beautiful car or a street car that is high performing.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is these cars are unreliable, and I hate to be the guy that says, oh, I read something on the internet about these being unreliable and I'm going to believe that and I'm just going to parrot this even if I don't know because I haven't owned one myself. I'm very careful when I say something like this, but we have been around these cars for long enough to know that these engines can be problematic. They are complicated. They don't like excessive heat. They like to have oil changes done frequently. And if you aren't maintaining them properly, they can wear out within a short amount of time, even if the mileage is fairly low. The upside, however, is that you can pay half of what a GTR costs and get a lot of the same performance. And
get one of the most beautiful cars ever produced.
And just downright coolest. Cars aren't shaped like this anymore. The low to the ground, sleek, tight body, small cockpit, long hood, even though it's a rotary engine, which is about this big. Just a fantastic car. And if you calculate in the cost that you probably need to spend a lot in maintenance, I think it's still worth it. I really shouldn't be saying this because we export cars, and anytime someone tries to buy one of these, we're like, okay.
It's more work for us.
Whoa, what's your experience with this car? Do you know what you're getting into, basically? And of cars that we buy, that we export, they're the ones that are most likely to break down before export.
To go with what Grego just said in the comments, I used to be a rotary purist until I started working here and had to actually deal with these cars. I'm a fan of LSs now. Make that car work.
I'm surprised that an American or an Australian hasn't moved to Japan and opened an LS swapping company for RX-7s. Because it honestly makes an awful lot of sense. And here in Japan, it might be seen as unique, even though it's not unique in other countries.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be probably a lot for taxes, though, with the big engines.
Imagine.
You can get the smallest one. Even the 4.8 can be made to do pretty decent stuff.
Imagine Mazda would do like a OEM swap kit to one of the new Skyactiv engines or something.
Oh, you mean like a Mazda engine?
Yeah.
Like the Miata engine or something?
For example, I don't know if it would fit, probably not, but would be interesting.
They put 1Js into these.
K20 swap, I think, for this is great.
Yeah, I think so too.
So,
excuse me. So, price at auction, more expensive than the 8.6, but not significantly more. And so you get a ton more performance, and prices about 2.5 to 7 million yen. Any notes on that, Grant?
So it covers quite a lot of condition. The ones down towards 2.5 will be generally higher mileage. Unknown mileage is pretty common because you have Mazda Speed and other aftermarket gauge clusters that people would get. Not as big an issue as GTRs, but it does happen. And then also, almost regardless of the price point, be aware that these are cars that can break. Like, we've had really nice, really expensive ones need to go to shops. We've had a lot of cheap ones need to spend a lot of time in shops. Like,
the interiors don't hold together very well on these either. And so, like, you can still get parts for the interior, but just know that that's the case. Like, the car's 30 years old. Like most of these cars, it's getting to the age where it's hard to keep on the road. But my gosh, what a gorgeous car. And let me point out, the wheels on the version that you're looking at right now are the same as on our BB.
What a coincidence there.
Yes. Okay, so the next car on here is Kisuke's older brother, who I believe is a doctor. Is that right?
Correct.
And he drives an older car because he got into driving a little bit earlier. He has an FC, which is the generation of RX-7 before the FD. And in general, I used to think that these were quite a good deal compared to most other performance rear-wheel drive cars. But recently, they've come up in price quite a bit as they've become quite rare. And so these ones, 38 cars in the last 3 months, puts them somewhere about the same as the 8.6. And you got to think, that's like 10 of them coming up per month. That's not a lot to pick from.
Nope.
And then how many of those fit into your idea of a condition that you want as well. You have to be very flexible on that. Prices for these run 2 million to 4 million yen, so they are slightly less expensive than the 8.6, but you're still looking at quite a bit of money now. Only 5 years ago, they weren't that expensive, so if you do have one of these, hold on to them. They're going to be harder to get in the future, and you don't want to have one of those experiences where you sell the car because you want something new and flashy, and then 3 years later, it's like now you can't afford that same car that you used to have.
I will also say, just as a reference for everybody on all of these, I've been doing the usual thing for our prices where I will cut out the top and bottom 10-ish%, and for the cars where it's harder to, I'll cut out any of the ones that are in just the absolute worst condition, so there's no uninspected cars going into the prices on this, and like the absolute bottom of the R grades, grade 2s and stuff, I have tried not to include unless there is no alternative.
Yeah, because
makes
Grant
sense,
doesn't want anybody hearing the bottom of the price list and then emailing him asking for one at that price.
It's almost like you know me.
About midway through the season, or through the show, Takumi's dad, the main character's dad, went and bought a new car for himself, which was a GC8 Impreza, the Rally Legend. And at that time, I guess it would have been a fairly new-ish car for the series. This was the two-door version, which came out in 1998.
Came out when the anime first released.
Which, amusingly, Takumi's dad bought one at the same time the author bought one.
Oh.
I think that's.
I remember that,
The
yeah.
only reason that this is so respected in the car community is because you can tell that the person who produced and did the art for it was a big car lover. I think it really shows through.
Yep.
So Bunta's GC8 is the two-door version, and that's very important because you pay a decent amount more than the four-door, which came out in 1992. So it's very odd that a car manufacturer is like, here's our four-door sedan, let's make a performance version, and then 7 years later go, and now we're taking two doors away, and you've got a coupe version.
Wasn't that the preparation for the 22B?
I actually don't know if
The
they did
two-door
it in anticipation for Rally.
Also, I've seen that in the chat. Did you know that the car was grey in the
I
manga?
did know that.
See, and also I can expand
In the
on
black
this.
and white manga.
No.
All the cars are gray, Max.
No. There's a color page of the car. Like each manga has.
I did know
a
that,
few,
actually.
and then it was actually colored gray.
I know very few things about Initial D, but I did get that. Anyone else have something to ask me? I'll pretend to know that one too. Okay, so
I like the two door. The two door looks good.
And performance-wise, it's no different from the 4-door. It's just going to be probably a little bit lighter because a 2-door has less structural points than a 4-door, a little bit stronger of a chassis.
I believe with all of the STI Type Rs like this, you do also get the slightly better gearbox from the later STIs. The 4-doors get it as well, but it's like cryo-treated gears. It's a little bit more durable.
GC8s and their gearboxes.
Hey, we didn't have a gearbox problem when we took ours endurance racing.
No, we did not.
We had a drive shaft problem. No heat problems, but we also invested like $2,500 in making sure it didn't overheat.
Big radiator, big oil cooler. They did their jobs.
And a few other things. I can't. Yeah, it wasn't just for cooling that we spent that much money. Okay, Bunta's GC8, $2.75 million at the low end and $4.5 million at the high end. So they are on the low end a little bit more expensive than the cars we talked about so far.
Mm-hmm.
But they also are a little bit shorter on the high end. If you get one of these 2-doors, it's going to be a classic car for years to come, and so you're not going to be losing any money, even though the initial buy-in is fairly expensive. Just keep it in good condition. Spend some extra money maintaining it, and you're going to have a really, really great thing in the future. Okay, the next one's a little bit... the amount of them. 17 of them for the 2-door. But if you love the Impreza, you get a lot of the same thing from the 4-door at a lot of a cheaper price. It's not going to have as much of a classic car value if you get the 4-door, but it's still going to be a fantastic car to drive. And as far as 90s cars go, the Imprezas are just so sweet.
You really have a
such
soft
good
spot
car.
for them. Hey?
No, I really do.
How did it feel when you saw the GC8 that we had?
I wanted to get rid of the car, so it felt good to get rid of it.
Fair.
But at the same time, like that was our second one. I mean, that was technically owned by the company, so it wasn't a daily driver, but I did have a daily driver of it earlier with full Martini livery on it.
Oh, I didn't know.
And it was incredibly cool to drive that thing around, especially as a young guy in Japan. So cool.
The next car is the best car in the series.
and the wild card. So there you have it. This is the, what would you call it? The suitor?
The what?
The suitor.
What is a suitor?
Suitor is a very charitable way to put that.
The guy that paid money to sleep with underage girls.
There we go.
Yeah.
It was his car. And you don't get to see too much
sugar
of this character, but you do get to see his car. And I suppose they call him Papa. And he drove, in the manga, it was a 190 class, which is now a C class.
Mm-hmm.
Or a...
Yeah, I guess you can say it was C-class
like a
equivalent.
C-class. And then he upgraded, I guess, for the anime to an E-class Mercedes-Benz.
E320?
I'm not sure.
Maybe?
The best I could find was it's a W210 E-class, so the prices just generally reflect models in that year and range. There are a couple of different engine sizes, but it's a W210 E-class.
Yeah.
And these ones, if you want any initial D car, this is it sounds so weird to say that. This is the cheapest that you can get. 400,000 yen on the low end to 100,000 yen on the high end. Prices for these have, like many cars, come up, but they are now considered something of a classic car, even if this was the generation of Mercedes-Benz that had long been hated, because this is the delineation between old Mercedes-Benz, which is very respected, to new Mercedes-Benz, which tended to be more problematic and more advanced, more electronics to go wrong, that sort of thing. And so I don't recommend to buy one of these, but if you do want to go manga style and get the 190, I highly recommend that one. They're fantastic.
My grandpa had one. I liked it.
Was your grandpa's an Evo?
No.
That would have been so cool if your grandpa had an Evo.
I grew up, next to a shop who has like 4 or 5 190 Evos in stock at any given time, and they do do racing on the Nürburgring with 190s.
Wow.
It's like a 190 specialty shop, and it's always cool to poke around what they have on the lot.
Wow. Those cars used to be semi-common to find in auction here in Japan, the Evos, Evo 1 or Evo 2. Nowadays, you don't really find them anymore, unless you want to pay a lot. Like you're talking over 100,000 easily.
They look cool.
They're incredible cars.
How many were at auction for the?
It looks a little bit low. 33 of them. Grant, is that only the small engine version, or is that including all engine versions?
So that is all the engine versions non-AMG of that W210 generation, which is like a 5 or 6 year run, I believe.
And I think the only reason the high end comes up this high is there were a lot of people who bought these cars in their elderly years and then just held on to them for 25 years without really driving them.
Yeah, I believe the low ends are the E320 and the high end is like E430s or something like that. The baby V8 ones, I believe.
Mhm.
Okay, kind of a boring car, so let's move on. Boring car, but fun to put it in there.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the next one, which is where most people learned about a SIL 80. It was a fairly common thing in Japan to swap the front end of your 180SX after you got into an accident to the cheaper and more plentiful Sylvia front end.
Yep. So
Because
it's a cost
the
choice.
pop-up headlights and all of the mechanisms and everything were a pain in the butt, and people who did toge driving were commonly crashing.
Mhm.
So it is really a interesting thing that they put it into this, because it's one of those things that's very realistic that the mainstream might not have known about.
Fun thing.
Yes,
Do you know about the Otvia?
the opposite, a Sylvia with a 180 front end.
The
No.
Odivia.
Odivia?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it an
Odyssey?
S15 or S14 that they did that with?
It's a 180. Well, I've seen it on an S13 coupe and a 180.
Okay.
I've seen
you
it on a
put,
14.
You put an Odyssey front end onto a Sylvia, which is
Yeah,
interesting.
which is perfect for you guys who aren't going to visually see what this looks like, but you just trust us that it does look awesome. That came out in like 2008
Was
or 2009. I remember I had just landed in Japan, and somebody had done it for an auto show, and it was making waves on the blogs back then.
Yep. There you are. It looks all right.
I think it's good. I think the front end has a little bit of an issue trying to get everything to line up properly,
Mhm.
but I think as
Yeah.
far as headlight swaps go, it's pretty decent.
Yeah, now I gotta find the tab again.
That's
it.
why you
There we
didn't
are.
want to do it. So this car was driven by the Mako and Sayuki, which this was funny. This is a little bit of inside information. We were going over the list, and I wanted to get names for everything, and Grant knew almost every one of the characters' names, and it was blowing my mind. You too?
Sorry, I was listening to reading the chat.
Was it blowing your mind that Grant knew all of the names of the characters in Initial D?
Yes, it was. Sorry. It was very mind blowing. That is true.
Okay, so we got prices here for, I suppose, the 180SX, and if you do want to get a SIL 80, you're not really spending an awful lot more, but you are going to struggle to find one with the front end swap, because although it was a popular thing to do, popular is within the realm of all of these cars, still a very small fraction of the amount that had been converted. So Grant was able to find 2 of them that had been converted in the last 3 months. And of course, you can jump on these if you want, but what's to say that the condition is pretty good? Almost certainly the car would have been crashed before somebody did the swap.
Mm-hmm.
And the swap may have been done a long enough time ago that it has been through cycles of crashes and rebuilds and crashes and rebuilds like many of these drift cars.
The condition of both that I found was pretty bad.
So what is the price range?
Price range is $2 million to $3 million, but because there's only 2 of them, that's not telling the entire story. So the price, Grant, you can correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I don't think the price for the SIL 80 is actually going to be much more,
No,
if
not
at
really.
all, than the Sylvia or the 180.
No, not really. It's priced the same as any other 180. Yeah.
Question from the chat. Are these listed as a 180
Yeah.
in the auction tool? Yeah.
There's no such thing as a SIL 80 category,
Yeah.
so you just got to look through all the 180s.
And there was a company that made official SIL 80s. Is that correct?
Yes, for a
It's
very
like
limited number of
Something
time.
Hearts
And
Japan, and they made 200 of them.
a
Ooh.
very, very small number.
And so you could get them kind of new. I don't really know the whole story. It might be like the Z-Tune for the Nismo, where they bought used cars, put the front end on, reconditioned them.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been that sort of thing. But they sold them in 1998 only, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so there are quote-unquote official versions of the SIL 80 as well.
Okay, next one is
One of the first car you get to meet, isn't it? Other than the hero car.
Yeah.
So,
I think this screenshot is very funny because it's very badly drawn.
But also it's the drawn car, not the CG car.
Correct.
Which most of the cars were CG, even in the character development sections.
The best color scheme of the Sylvia, to be honest. No, I prefer the champagne gold. But yes, the green is
What
nice.
color is it?
I'm sorry, Max.
Is it actually
Seafoam is the
green?
best.
It's seafoam green.
Really? I thought it was white.
No.
So this is Iketani. He is the head of the Speed Stars or something. Akina Speed Stars, is that right?
Yeah,
Yep.
that is right.
And so he is the leader of the team that the main character and his buddy end up joining
Mm-hmm.
before they later go on to Project D. Is that right?
Takumi never officially joins the Akina Speed Stars. They always just talk about that they will be putting a sticker on his car. But Takumi is still the representative of Gunma's or Mount Akina's team.
This character sucks at driving, and it's kind of a running joke that he doesn't really know what he's doing.
I mean, I think he should be a character that is the average car guy. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't think he would necessarily suck at driving.
But
in comparison to all the other ones,
pretty much knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think it's funny because he doesn't realize he's bad until it's explained to him.
Yeah.
This is an S13. You're looking at, I guess, 1.25 to 1.55, but
Yeah.
almost all of them are R grade or grade 2. Only
They're-
7 cars of them.
They're all in bad condition, and the numbers and the prices skew pretty low because I believe I'm correct in saying that in the series, his is a CA18 car.
So you only put in CA18
So I've specifically
versions.
filtered by the first 2 and a bit years.
Right, so 88 and 89 were the 1.8 liter.
Yeah,
And then they
88,
got-
89, 90.
Okay. And then in 90 was a crossover with both of them.
I believe partway through 90 or starting from 91. I can't remember which.
And then the
but,
SR20 is a more modern engine that most people want.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, cheaper if you get the CI18 engine, I suppose. But if it is the SR20, you're paying what basically sell 80 prices, $2 million to $3
Yeah,
million.
generally I'd say 2 to 3 for a decent condition S13. But like even for the SR cars, they are hard to find. 70% of all Silvias at auction now are S15s.
Wow.
Damn.
How much power difference between the CI18? Did it go from like 180 to 200?
Yeah, it's not that big a difference. I believe the CA18 with the turbo is 185 or 190, and then the first gen SR is 205.
Okay, so they didn't get an awful lot more horsepower despite the newer architecture for the engine, eh? Horsepower per liter, I mean.
Grant is busy.
Well-produced show here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Max. It is a well-produced show. We were also working with what we have, and we cannot stop working.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we didn't buy that car for you because we were too busy doing live shows. Next, sorry.
I would like to have an S13. I think they're so cool.
I want one that is in like full original condition,
Yeah.
like the one that we bought that's going on the channel soon.
Yes, it's going to be so awesome. I'm so happy
The
about it.
amount we paid for that is extremely high.
Yes,
But
I
at the
know.
same time, full original low mileage cars don't exist anymore. That's a platform that like 99% of them have been modified.
Yeah.
Okay, next car is the main character's best friend, I suppose you could say, Itsuki. And he loved the 8.6 so much, he went and bought himself one, but he didn't realize that he bought the 8.5 instead of the 8.6, which is akin to the North American version of the SR5 version,
Except
not the
even
GTS.
slower.
It has a 1.5 liter engine instead of a 1.8 liter engine. And it's carbureted? I don't know.
Yeah,
Grant,
you
tell
are
me.
correct. So it's a bit different between the SR5, but the 8.5 in Japan, it has a 3AU, which is a 1.5 single cam, 8 valve, single carb.
But the same series engine as the 4AGE. It's
True.
still an
They
A
are both
engine.
an A family, yeah.
And so he buys that car, and then he's sad because it's slow, and then Takumi drives it, and it's like, whoa, my car is so fast. I believe in myself.
And then later he turbos it.
Does he?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was one of the saddest moments in this series when everyone started to make fun of him because it's not an 8.6 but an 8.5.
Yeah. But also, I think that mirrors a lot of what happens, especially like if you grow up poor in the car scene, you never have the good car, and people do make fun of you for that.
Yep, that was me
But
with my first car, which was not a Type R, but everyone was
Really?
you didn't get the Type R, you loser.
Yeah, well, those people are
Yeah.
losers.
Yep. So that's it.
We have some people in suits coming to the office right now.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, so price. There are only 2 of these at auction, and most of these 8.5s have been converted to the 8.6 engine and other conversions and stuff like that. Grant, of the 8.5s that you found, the 2 of them,
Yeah.
were they still original 8.5s or
Yes.
converted?
These have
Ooh.
not been swapped. I specifically did not look for ones where they had been engine swapped.
So would
These
you
are original 8.5s.
I haven't looked at the prices. Are 8.5s more expensive because they are more rare?
Hell no.
Okay, good. So how much is an 8.5?
1.25 million to 1.55 million, and almost all of them are R grade or grade 2. Grade 2 is going to be rust holes everywhere. Still maybe a good chassis to turn into something amazing. I think for the most part, you're not going to get too much flack for turning an 8.5 into an 8.6 because
Same chassis.
8.6s, everything's been replaced on them anyway. So if you replace everything but the chassis on an 8.5, you still should be getting the same amount of cred.
Correct. Yeah, you got to do the engine, and the other big thing you got to do is the rear axle.
Right.
But yeah, you can do it, and I don't think anybody would care. There is not a huge case to be made for museum specimen 8.5s, I don't think.
But I think it would be incredibly cool, especially a little bit longer in the future, because they are so rare. Just a neat little thing to have.
Look at me.
Or maybe it's
I
just
got the
me.
slow version.
But nobody else has it.
I will point out in the picture here, he's got the sick wheels and the bucket seat even for the passenger, even though he doesn't need to have it for the passenger. Itsuki is dripping.
Yeah.
Turbo, an 8.5, and then put good wheels and seats in it. It's cool. Next one.
Our next one here is the Cappuccino from a character called Sakamoto, and I suppose he raced in the rain, it looks like.
Yep. Which was their miscalculation. So they were very confident with beating Takumi because at that point in the show, Takumi has always beaten higher power cars with a lightweight vehicle. So their strategy was, which car can we get that's even more lightweight to beat him in the corners instead of the straights?
Right.
Because Takumi was not used to being beat in the corners. But it started to rain. And if you have a very short wheelbase with rear-wheel drive, rain is probably not the best situation to be in.
Weird. So
Yeah.
you used to own one of these, right?
Yes.
And then
Yes.
what happened to the engine?
It blew up on Mount Haruna
Living the initial D dream.
while doing the legally posted speed limit.
So these are pretty common at auction, but they fell in price so low that people weren't holding them together. So while they're common at auction, finding one in good condition will be a lot more expensive because most of them are going to be pretty trashy. 51 of them in the last 3 months, and price is now $600,000 to $1.5 million.
I will say it was the most fun car I've ever experienced. Just having a 3-cylinder turbo with the same layout as a normal sports car, engine in the front, wheel spin in the back.
It really is very unique.
Very unique. So if you've driven a Roadster, Miata, whatever, this is like the Roadster or Miata, but even lighter and smaller. So
I've driven both of them quite a bit, including tollgate driving.
Mm-hmm.
I find that the Cappuccino, I hate to say this because I do love the Cappuccino. I love the engine. I love it in other cars. I would take an Alto Works over Cappuccino.
Oh, why is that?
It's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is. So a lot of it is just feeling. So you can probably disregard it. But I feel like maybe because it's like a rear-wheel drive, more like a real sports car, right? I feel like it should be a little bit more dynamic, and I felt like it doesn't really handle as well as you would think that it does. So The Miata, I feel, it's low on power, but it's not too low on power. And it has a fun, playful engine and an extremely good drive. It's fantastic. The Cappuccino, I kept feeling like you get the turbo, and you get the turbo fairly low, like
It's 3,000.
3,000 or something
Yeah,
like that. And
yeah.
then come 5,000, now you've got from 5,000 to a
Nine.
crazy 9,000 or 8,500 or something like that to go through. But because you don't get that whoosh of the turbo, that's already done by that time.
Yeah.
So it feels like it's fast, but then when you actually start driving, it doesn't feel fast at all.
That
It's
was
like
my
weird.
my biggest thing when I got it. I was like, okay, I had the Civic, had 140 horsepower. Now I get this 64 horsepower little car. I go drive it, and it feels incredibly fast when you get on it for the first time.
Right.
The turbo kicks, you're getting the torque at a time that you're not used to getting the torque when you come from a naturally aspirated car. But then you have 3,000 to 9,000 RPM, so 6,000
Yeah.
RPM, yes, I can do math, of nothing more.
And
It
this
just
co- this
gets
comes-
louder,
right.
not faster.
This comes down to the character of the engine, and I think it can be remedied by putting on a bigger turbo and getting more power. So I think it's
Probably.
certainly if I wanted a Cappuccino, then I would go ahead and do that. But honestly speaking, I love my toaster vehicles, like small hatchback front wheel drive.
that
I
is
just
Derek.
think to me it just totally it worked well with my personality.
But it's a convertible. You can have still, like, it did not leak too much water into the cabin in comparison to
Too
other non-hard tops. It's a great car. It's a fun car.
But it's only a toy. Like
Yeah, it's a toy.
you have to deal with some severe if you're gonna daily this, then
Going over 100 kilometers an hour, and this is genuinely scary.
is it?
Might be because of the condition mine was in, but
I didn't think it was too bad at higher speeds.
then it was the
I think a lot of
condition
people think, oh, K cars can't go over 100. I think they're fine up to like 130, 140 for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay, next one, so we can get through this. Akiyama's Altezza, definitely not put in because this is Max's current car.
No, definitely not because of that.
But also, yes, it was put in. I actually said, hey, the Altezza, let's put it in because it's Max's car. And you want to talk about your car every episode.
No,
not
that-
only me.
Yeah. This was driven by a guy who he himself said he's not a good driver. So it was a nothing race, really. But I was happy that it was still in there.
Yeah,
And that's it.
cool car.
Cool car. How much
Yeah.
do they cost, and how many of them are available?
107 available. They're one of the most common. I wouldn't say most common and probably, yes, also the easiest to buy. You have had some troubles with yours, though, like a lot of little minor problems.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's mostly the car was released at a time where Toyota was like, hey, we're going to do all of these sensors and dual VVTi, and the throttle is not just manual anymore. We have this dual system
And
of
the
manual
throttle is
and
a known
electronic.
problem on these, right?
Yeah. So if you get one of these, look into replacing spark plugs, coil packs,
Everything.
MAF sensor, and then all of the VVTi stuff. That's
But-
the big part.
A subcompact car like BMW 3 Series, maybe even a little bit smaller, with a 6-speed manual and a high revving 2-liter engine that puts out over 200 horsepower is a package you really don't get. And
Yeah.
it's odd that Toyota thought this is what we should make.
And I will say, and this comes from me owning it now for almost 3 years, and not because I was a fan of the car before. When I bought it, I was just looking into what is the cheapest rear-wheel drive car I could buy that is kind of not...
Is that real?
Yeah,
Why,
So I had the
Why
Altezza.
rear-wheel drive? Because you want to go drifting, right?
I like rear-wheel drive. That's it.
I like rear-wheel drive too. I just kind of like... all my favorite cars are front-wheel drive.
So it was either the RX-8 or the Altezza.
Oh,
That were
the
two.
Altezza is the better pick of those
Yeah.
two. RX-8s are good cars, and I get a lot of flack, and people don't give them the... people don't appreciate them as well as they should.
Yeah.
Which makes me really sad.
I wanted to just say, it does everything you want it to be. Like-
It's very easy to live with too.
I can road trip in it. We can make nice long trips to Kyoto and stuff. The car doesn't...
Tire noise.
Yeah, that's my fault though, for getting
It's also
slick tires.
it's also semi the type of car, right?
Yeah.
Like the car is still fairly lightweight and engineered in the 90s.
And it's It's so well engineered. It's just a good car. That's all there is to it.
Good stuff. Okay, so fairly easy to buy still, and as far as rear-wheel drive sports cars from Japan go, it's probably among the easiest.
Mm-hmm.
Prices for those, 900,000 to 2 million. You bought yours at the right time, didn't you?
Yep. I was way below that range.
Okay, the next one is Todo Racing Tomoyuki's EK9. Now, I've promised myself that my 90s car is either going to be this or an NSX, and I can afford this a lot easier than I can an NSX.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my 70s dream car. I've got my 80s dream car.
Now it's on to the 90s.
90s, it will have to be the next one, and NSXs, by the time I can afford one, are going to be even more expensive, and the EK9 really checks boxes more than the NSX does. I love the car that is, like the NSX, people look at it and they're like, oh, I'm a supercar.
Yeah.
You look at the EK9 and it's like, Civic. But those who know. Like on a racetrack, it's almost as fast as the NSX. It's almost shoulder to shoulder in something that's unassuming. And that to me is really cool. So this one was the racing school's driver or something drove it.
Yeah.
They make 180 horsepower out of 1.6. I'm kind of looking at Grant, even though I'm looking at you.
Sorry, what's up? Sorry, I was in
EK9 Type R horsepower.
185.
185.
And front wheel drive, God's version of cars, front wheel drive.
Yeah. I feel like this is a car that is not known to be, oh, this car was initially. It is known to be, oh yes, this is the EK9 Civic Type R. And that's it.
And in yellow, really rare.
Yeah.
They're almost all white and a handful of black ones, I think. 39 of them in the last 3 months, and prices from 1.8 to 3.3 million yen. Now, the Type Rs were all built to an extremely high level of, level of detail is not the right way to say it, but like people who cared about putting cars together put these cars together. So they are safe to buy at higher mileage and tend to wear out slower than many other cars of the same era. So I feel like if you are going to compromise on mileage because the prices are so expensive for these, I think this is a pretty safe car to do that in. I have never driven one, and I'm so sad that I haven't, because we've only sold one of these.
Yeah, it's
I
weird.
think one or maybe two.
Yeah.
I think we're actually up to 3 now. We just got another one not too long ago.
I'm losing my mind. Anyway, the DC2 is one of the all-time best driving cars I have ever driven, and I can only assume that this is even a better car to own. Smaller engine, a little bit lower on power, but much rarer, and smaller body, I guess more nimble, and a little bit less sporty looking. So I
always
cool.
thought the EK9 and DC2 were the exact same, just different body style.
DC2 got a 1.8 liter version of the engine.
Oh, never mind. I'm losing my mind. Okay, next one.
Where are we on this list?
MR2.
The MR2. There's actually 2 of these, isn't there? There's the one that was like, I'm going to stop racing, in a red one.
You're right.
He was trying to date one of the girls.
Oh, you're thinking of the one from what was it? Extra Stage, the side story guy. Yeah, who's not really even a character.
I'm thinking I should get married and settle down. I'm going to stop racing. It's actually kind of dangerous. The only person in the entire show that actually thinks like an adult. The guy that borrows money to get tires for his car.
Oh no, that's Roadster guy.
Anyway, the MR2 here was Takumi's dad's rival's son. So it's like, ooh, this is a big deal. It's like vicariously living through your children.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the most famous races where he takes jumps over the hairpin berms.
In Irohazaka, I think.
No, that was the Evos that ran that race.
Nope, he's right. It was Hazaka.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. It was definitely that race.
Yeah. It's a live show. I can't cut that,
For some reason, I always think the Evo is with the Iroha.
There is also an Evo race at Iroha.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's the rematch after, because Takumi races the Evo 3 guy first and blows his engine. And then they have a rematch for reasons.
With this guy.
And so Yeah, the scene is really funny. I watched a YouTube video of is it reasonable to do this? And they didn't do it in real life, which is, I guess, in some sense a shame, but also I don't want people making YouTube videos where they do jumps in their cars on the street.
Yep.
But they did it on
BeamNG?
Assetto Corsa.
Assetto Corsa is so bad with the jumping physics.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, you land and the whole car goes like... boing, boing, boing.
I don't know because I don't play. Anyways, these cars I think are generally pretty easy to find still. 18 cars in the last 3 months, so like getting a little slim, but still fairly easy.
And another note about this is a non-turbo MR2, so the prices and the numbers only reflect that.
Oh,
For
really?
the Beams version, right?
No.
Oh.
The Beams is dramatically more expensive.
Dramatically more expensive.
Yeah, because the Beams MR2 was only available for like a year and a bit.
At
so
the
it's got to
very
be a
end.
98 or a 99.
Those are the ones I'd get for sure. The Beams one.
Honestly, having driven my dad's with his is a 97 with just the base NA3S, makes like 180, still feels great. I
Yeah.
would not shy away from it.
Yeah. Low power cars can be all sorts of fun. But then you're the guy that didn't get the turbo one, right? But at least if you got the Beams one, it's like this is the rare one that has almost the same horsepower as the turbo one, wink wink. And it has beams. There's erections that come when you say that word from car lovers.
Beams. Sorry.
Okay, so prices for these, I think fairly reasonable. Turbos are how much more expensive? Actually, let me say the price is 1 million to 2.5 million.
Yep, and
Turbo
turbos,
ones-
the top end of turbos is about the same, about at 2.5. The bottom end on turbos will be higher, I would say around 1.5, 1.6.
I think turbos are easier to find than non-turbos
Can be, yeah.
because it's just more people kept them on the road. Or maybe they just sold more of the turbos. I'm always surprised when I look at prices of cars originally, like the Skyline. This car costs you 2.5 million, or you can get the turbo version for 2.75.
Like, why wouldn't you?
Right.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah. Oh, great looking car. I got the chance to drive one. Do you remember?
Yeah, the Beams one.
The Beams one. So good.
Yeah,
Ever since I've been thinking, oh, should I get an MR2?
yeah. I think good cars, but to me the AW11 is where the MR2 is at.
Yep.
On to the next one. This is the GTR. Actually, this one comes in the series earlier. I think this is the
First stage is the second race. Second opponent. He's like, oh, Keisuke Takahashi lost. Now it's my turn to actually race against Keisuke by winning against Takumi. Because if I win against Takumi, that means I'm better than Keisuke without needing to battle Keisuke.
So of course
big
GTR is big money. The R32 is looking nicer and nicer every year. Just the style of it and the very muscular look of the hood that comes up in the center and the bulging fenders.
Yes.
It's very snack-like, isn't it?
Yeah, this car is a snack.
You put the right wheels on it, you lower it and keep it otherwise stock. I think it's extremely sexy. Prices. You're paying the GTR tax on this, but in this case, it is worth it. You're not going to lose money on GTRs. They're always going to be worth something, and probably more in the future by a decent amount. So it's almost like a free car because there's appreciation in it.
Okay.
Okay. So if you just have money sitting around, just buy a GTR. You
It's
get to
free
drive
real
it.
estate. It's free real estate.
It's
You know the
free.
meme?
No.
Okay. It was for the viewers then.
Does anyone know what it's free real estate means? Because Max is gaslighting me here. He's always like, "Here's a meme. Oh, you don't know it because you're old, Derek." And I do wonder if people actually know it or if you're just trying to make me feel bad.
Yep. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I was thinking that you might know it, but yeah, people get it.
There's still
Classic meme.
fairly common at auction, 90 of them in the last 3 months, which is actually more than I thought that there would be. But
Very
you're going to be
surprising, yeah.
paying
Yeah.
lots of money for them. 4.5 million on the low end, 9 million on the high end. A decent one, I suspect you're paying somewhere around 6. And then anything over 6, it's like you're paying extra to not have to deal with problems.
Yeah, I'd say like 5 to 6.5 is your safe range if you want just a solid one.
Mm-hmm. I want a solid one. Where
You're
do I
still
get
going to get
6.5
dashboard
million?
bubbles. You're still going to get the threat of rust in it. And they are semi-complicated vehicles. But the world has a lot of knowledge about GTRs, and so you can leverage that. There's a lot of answers on the internet. Far, far, far easier to handle a car like that than the Honda City Turbo. Because that car was before the internet, and people didn't keep them running until the internet times.
Cappuccinas, amigas.
On to our next one here.
Yup.
Another Skyline, the R34. And this one, the price range is going to be a little bit different because this character happened to own the special edition of it.
Yeah.
And the special edition, they only made like, I think, 200 or 500 or something like that.
The Millennium Jade paint job.
On the V-Spec 2 NUR edition, right? Do they actually call it the NUR edition? Because I think they had some issues with licensing.
Yeah,
Nur-
it is actually the NUR.
NUR edition? NUR spec.
I think it's just NUR.
Just NUR? Just NUR.
V-Spec 2 NUR.
Do you know what NUR stands for?
Why don't you tell me? Because it sounds like you want to tell me.
No, I'm positive you know what it means.
Okay, tell me. Because I'd like to hear things again.
Nürburgring.
Thank you.
Wow.
So prices for the NUR version. Grant, help me out with this.
Right. So I did some digging, and I could only find one that actually fully matches on the specs, the Millennium Jade, and it was technically an M-spec NUR, not a V-spec. But it sold just shy of 52 million yen.
Wow. So that's like 350,000 USD plus other fees to get it into your country.
Yep.
That's rough. So Millennium J, so of the NUR editions, they had several special colors that people generally spend more on, right? So there's like the Midnight Purple 3 and the Midnight Purple 1, I think. And it's like, oh, there's 7 of the, that's very Corvette-like. You know what I'm saying?
Only 7 of them in the world.
But for whatever reason, it's not like Corvette, people will actually value them more for the colors for these GTRs.
I used to dislike Millennium Jade a lot, but it's grown on me.
Yeah, you've been in Japan for a long enough time.
Yeah. It fits that car quite nicely.
So 1 Millennium Jade NUR edition in the last 3 months, but 57 regular versions of the R34 GTR.
Yeah.
Prices, and correct me if I'm wrong, Grant, but prices here, you have 13 million to 55 million.
Yep.
What does that encompass?
So that encompasses basically the full range of all BNR 34s, cutting out the like really bad ones. So it does include some R grades, it does include some 3.5s, and it goes up to the highest one being that one.
Wow, so
Millennium Jade.
there are no longer any R34 GTRs for under 10 million.
Not recently, at least. Yeah.
Wow. You know what? They should add Skylines into the calculator for inflation. You know, they have a basket of goods that is... Skyline should definitely be in there.
So it's like, how did the kebab prices go up?
Yeah.
And right next to the kebab is the R34 GTR.
Yeah. And this was the final boss of Stage 4, I believe.
One of the 2 final bosses. There was the...
And this was
climb.
the God Foot.
Yeah.
And then there was the God Arm, who drove an S2000.
Yes.
These ones, I can't believe the price that you have on here, Grant. 1.5 million to 3.5 million seems like such a deal.
Yep.
Such a deal. Yeah, buy these. The S2000s are very unique in Honda's lineup. Honda, known for front-wheel drive performance cars, barely has any rear-wheel drive cars, and then comes out with one of the best rear-wheel drive cars ever, and one of the only cars that can challenge the Miata for...
Pretty much everything.
Yeah. I personally prefer a Miata, but it's a very different car, and I think most people would think the S2000 is the better of the two. S2000, I haven't driven the 2.2 liter version, and the 2 liter version,
You were disappointed by it.
I wanted more power low down in the RPM range. It's very peaky, and I thought that I could live with that because the 8.6 is kind of like that, and if you drive it at higher RPM, it doesn't matter. But unlike the B-Series engine, I didn't think it had enough at the bottom, and I think the 2.2 liter has the same amount of power, but has more in the lower RPM. I think might fix that problem, so I'm eager to try.
And by the way, for anybody who's interested, the S2000, similar to the EK, you will get a lot of them with comparatively quite high mileage. I would not be put off with that. The F-Series is known to be a solid and reliable engine.
And people like the S2000s. Like, people don't buy the S2000 to go toge drifting and destroying it.
Are you sure? Because I think people do that. They are a semi-famous, like they're high performing and they're very good, especially at toge type driving. And so I think that the people who buy them are going to be doing some performance driving of some kind.
They generally don't get drifted in my experience,
Yeah.
so there's a bit of a reprieve on that. But you will see a lot of R grades, especially front end ones. So I suspect a lot of people have met some guardrails.
So when you get them, you're saying you should put better brakes on the car.
I mean, is that ever a bad idea?
I agree with Zaid. He says it's because you are keeping too high a gear while cruising. And why I agree to that is anytime I see an S2K driving past me that has an aftermarket exhaust on it, it's always someone cruising at 5k RPM. They never cruise in a silent way. It's always like this.
That's funny.
Like
He's maybe onto something there. But I gotta say that like you can't drive around without stopping. And then like starting from a light in this car is like getting out of bed in the morning. Like your day is gonna go fine, but when you're in bed, you're like, okay, this day sucks.
You just need to rev it to 3,000 RPM every time you get off and then drop the clutch.
You actually won't spin the tires. You don't have enough power at 3,000. You're gonna have to drop it at 6,500.
I need to do that with the Altezza now. When like usually I start from like 1,500 RPM or something, but I feel like the clutch that is in there, I don't know what it is, doesn't grab at that moment. But if I go all the way to 2.5, it just bites, and then I can go. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you should be driving your car faster.
Yep.
On to the next one is Go Hojo's NSX. I didn't even know this was in the series because this is after I stopped watching.
This is the race on Tsubaki Line in Hakone.
Oh.
My favorite road around this area.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's cool. NSX, probably maybe my number one favorite car of all time. And I liked it, as all car lovers do. But then when I got to drive it, I was like, they got everything right on this. I think that their chassis development is superb on it, and I really, really like the amount of power that they have because they're really not a fast car.
Mm-hmm.
And so you still get to play with it. But every car that looks like this and performs like this always has 400-ish horsepower nowadays. And so you don't get to play with the car. You get to experience going fast. And going fast honestly scares me. Like, I would rather play with my car in a way that you don't get to on modern cars. And this is kind of the end of that. Every other exotic car is just, there's too much.
How much do these sell for? Because you said you can't afford one.
Let's be clear on this one. I can afford one, but what can I not afford once I buy one of these? And we just spent my 20 plus years of savings on a new house.
Yeah.
Not even joking. We have been saving since the day we landed in Japan. 20 years for my down payment. And driving a minivan that's $1,500. Like, this is how you save for a down payment. You don't buy all the cars you want and that you could theoretically afford because you're saving up for something else. Yeah. I would just like people to congratulate me on that. So if you do have any compliments for me in the comments, go ahead and put them in there. Because I feel like it's so hard not to buy all the shit that you want.
Derek, you did such a good job.
Thank you.
20 years.
Thank you, Max. I love that. Prices for these, you're looking at basically 10 million yen at the bottom. This is for manual transmission versions. 20 million yen at the top. And only 13 in the last 3 months, but they're all basically going to be in fairly good condition because this is absolutely the type of car that was babied throughout its life.
Also, this is prices and availability for manuals only. There are lots of automatics, weirdly.
The automatic is the wrong car to get an automatic in, though. Like,
yeah.
If you get this car in an automatic, you are only doing it for the style because it is so much less fun to drive. Like, automatics are less fun than manuals, but in this car specifically, it is much, much worse. And they have power steering for the automatic versions, and it takes a lot of the fun out of it when it has power steering.
Please look at the chat.
Derek, well done. Okay, well, I'll just...
No, there's a bunch more. You can read through a bunch that congratulate you.
The NSX-R... I think probably too rare to appreciate. Congratulations, Derek. Good job saving money, Derek. Absolute legend. Actually, do you want to read them out to me so it feels like people are saying it?
Oh wait.
Say it in make up a different voice for everybody too.
No, wait. Absolute legend.
Thank you. What's the next one? I do want you to do it in another voice too, because I think that'd be funny.
Delayed gratification.
That was a good too.
I can't do that.
Well done. You owe yourself an NSX.
Or
So the last name Weldon, sounding like the steak thing, it kind of has a version of that in Japanese too, because it almost sounds like weridon, like don at the end of something is it's like the shortened version of donburi, which is like a type of food. So it's like a well version of a donburi.
I always dream of the time when we buy a welding machine, and all of the word jokes are already in my brain for that moment when he starts welding stuff.
So I don't know if your last name has any jokes attached to it, but generally speaking, somebody who has a name that can be made fun of like that.
You probably already heard all of them.
And from people that realize that name jokes are kind of lowbrow. So it's going to be people that you already consider kind of dumb. Sorry to the person who said that in the chat. I'm very sorry about that. I got a friend named James Potts, right?
Yep.
Imagine your last name is Potts. That's just asking for things. The amount of times, I guess you like smoking pot, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Lol, you dumb. Okay, we have a few more cars.
Next one, Supra. I didn't even know they had one of these in Initial D. It's not the type of car that you would do toge drifting or toge
Driving.
racing in, because
Time
it
attack.
is.
Yeah.
It's a GT car.
Mm-hmm.
So
Everybody knows the Supra.
I don't know it.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know this one in Initial D. So
Oh.
is there anything we need to know?
Turbo manual. That's it. Was it turbo? I'm starting to doubt myself.
Surely it's got to be a turbo one.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was hill climb, so it's probably a turbo one.
I love how this one still has the 35 plate on there, as if they're still taking place in the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
By this time, it was, yeah. Supra. Price? The price has decided the internet's long-fought battle of GTR versus Supra. GTRs are well cheaper. I'm sorry, GTRs are well more expensive than the Supra is. And so prices for these 6.2 million on the low end to 10 million on the high end, which is a fraction of what GTRs cost. So
There you have
I
it.
have long
GTR
been
is
on
superior.
Team GTR, although I am a Toyota lover through and through and very much enjoy the Toyota Supra. I think it is a gorgeous car with a fantastic engine in it, but I think the GTR beats it in almost every category.
There you have it.
NSX, GTR, Supra.
Owner of a car exporting company in business for 18 years finally
Has it been
settles
18
the battle.
years?
Is it 18 years?
On the internet of all places.
Yeah.
We're bringing it right to the core of the... I guess everything's on the internet. That doesn't really make sense. 20 cars of these were sold in the last 3 months,
Yep.
which makes them fairly easy to buy. I still find, despite that these being fairly expensive cars, there are still a lot of them that are in fairly rough condition.
So what is the price range?
Did I not say?
Nope.
6.2 to 10 million.
There you have it. Okay, 2 more.
I didn't know this one again was in it. Fairlady Z33.
That was
The
that
Tokyo
4th
Drift
stage or
car.
5th stage?
Must be 5th.
It was the guy. No, I don't want to get into specifics. We will have a hard cut at the end of the show, so we need to finish this.
It's a car that the internet seems to hate, but I think it doesn't deserve the hate. These are they're just fine cars. And performance cars are hard to find, so go ahead and buy one of these. Rear-wheel drive, 6-speed manual, comes with Brembo brakes, a decent amount of power, a decently reasonable weight.
Mm-hmm.
They're just good cars. 6.5 million on the low end, 2 million on the high end. Does that
No,
include Nismo
600
versions?
650 on the low end
650,000.
to 2 million. Does that include the Nismo?
Yes, it can include some of the Nismo versions on
Okay.
the high end.
And people pay a decent amount more for Nismos.
They do trend toward the top for sure.
Okay, 144 cars, and they're of an age at the moment that they're not too old, so they can still be fairly easily owned.
Mm-hmm. And the last one, Evo 3.
Good luck finding one of these. The Evo 3, so the Evos are weird. They went 1, 2, 3, and the 1 kind of sucked. The 2 was kind of mediocre, and the 3 was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went 4, 5, 6 in the next generation, and this is when they got the AYC, which was a stupid system.
Mm-hmm.
AYC is the torque a very early version of torque vectoring, and it kind of throws off your handling, even though the 5 and the 6 are iconic in their looks. Those are the best ones, but you still get the AYC. So anyone who wanted a performance car would still go with the 3. But
That
then
makes sense, yeah.
the 3 ended up getting more expensive than the 4, even though the 4 was more modern and better looking, right?
Mhm.
So because they were the performance version, they ended up getting raced a lot, which meant they were extremely hard to find and buy 10 years ago.
Is the Evo 3 the most desirable of them?
It used to be the most desirable for racing, but then when the 789 came out, that was no longer the case.
I was going to say the most desirable Evo right now by far is the 9.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's the 9 station wagon version.
Yeah, fair.
No.
And desirable
Nobody
is,
wants these.
I think Max is trying to make drama just because he thinks it would make a good video, but saying stupid things on the internet is probably something you want to be careful with.
Yeah, that's right.
The Evo 3, they sell currently for $2.2 million on the low end to $3.5 million on the high end, but only 8 of them in the last 3 months, and 8 of 8 will be in shit condition. Oh, they will be in poop condition.
One of them was
JDM
actually
poop.
really nice.
That's fantastic. I'd like
Yeah.
to hear that.
Yeah, one.
Okay. And that was the list of the initial decals.
So, Max, of all of the cars on here, which one would you personally buy? This is a setup.
Should I say Altezza now? Okay. I
And
will.
honestly speaking, even if it's not the car you would personally buy, that, the Altezza, the Fair Lady, these are your best value for money out of all the initial D cars.
Absolutely, yeah. Altezza, the Fair Lady.
And Papa's
Papa's
Mercedes-Benz.
Mercedes-Benz.
That you don't want. Honestly, you don't want that.
Yeah. People ask, oh, no Celica ST205. and
Yeah, we
other
had to drop
cars.
some of them because we
did
didn't want to have a list with 50 cars on it. We missed the Roadster, which would have been nice to put in there. The Celica, for me, would have been a great car to put in.
Yep, missed the DC2, missed the ER34. Like, there's a bunch of them that we just, for various reasons, decided we're going to cut it to the most desirable ones.
I think if I would have the money, I would like to still own an A86 or S13.
The A86 is just like the one that we always wanted. Grant, you know about this. If you had an 8.6 in the early 2000s,
Yep.
you wanted one with the silver top engine or the black top engine conversion.
Yep.
You wanted one that was lowered on like Longchamp wheels
Yep.
because the Longchamp... I was thinking about this morning. Longchamp wheels are the wheel for the 8.6. Like, the
Pretty
Longchamps
much.
came out, I think, the same year or within 1 year of when the 8.6 came out. So if you had that car as a new car and you wanted some wheels for it,
Toyota
it
probably.
was almost the only wheel you would have chosen. And that's why you see so many of them nowadays with those wheels, is the older guys are like, I want something from my youth. And
Yep.
I wanted the 8.6 with the Longchamps, but I had no money.
Now I have the money. Now I go for the
Yep.
Longchamps.
I had knockoff Watanabes on mine. They're weirdly now kind of rare in their own right because the size and offset are discontinued.
We had on ours OEM Steelies with chrome rings on the first one, but they were painted with little stripes, so they had silver black stripes on the OEM steel. And
Cool.
the second one, we had the dealer optional snowflake wheels.
Yes.
Do you guys in the chat want to see a picture in the next show of Derek's 8.6? Do you have pictures of your
I
8.6?
probably do.
Mm-hmm.
This was before digital cameras existed.
Right?
I don't know if I have any that. Yeah, I can maybe take a look.
Look at the chat. Like, it's... Yes.
I know I can send some pictures. I just got from one of my friends a photo dump of a lot of pictures of me when I was younger, and I was looking through them, and there is one of my 78 Celica in there, and there's one of my 72 Mini. So
We shall see. I think it would be fun. Just as a This Week at PCA kind of...
yeah, I don't. I regret it, but I'm not a big. I haven't taken a lot of pictures of my cars throughout the years. Kind of sucks. Okay, on to the next segment. We've got our car picks.
Car
So
picks.
Grant, tell me what we got for this first one.
You are still muted, Grant. Grant.
Oops, sorry. So for the first one, in a lot of ways, it's not that special, I guess, but I just think it looks cool. It's a little Suzuki Carry. It's got some nice rims on it. It's got coilovers in the front and lowered leaf springs in the back. It's got these funky little arrow like skirt
Oh,
things
wow,
that
that is
go
weird.
along the battery tray, where that's usually just all open space underneath.
But here it is.
It's kind of neat.
Yeah. What does the sheet say?
Nothing very
body's
special,
really
to be honest.
weak. No, like the body doesn't have a lot of rust on it, but this person has been like doing the Street Fighter thing where you punch the car.
You threes. Yeah.
I can't wait for the Street Fighter movie to come out. I am such a like being in the 90s when Street Fighter hit the arcades. It was just so amazing. Everyone gathering around the arcade machine watching all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're totally hamming it up with the new movie to try to hit that nostalgia thing, which I don't have a problem with at all. The scene where Ken's kicking the car just looks so good.
Starting price is 50,000 yen. Grant, what do you think this will sell for, roughly?
My guess is somewhere below $500,000 for sure.
I like
There
the
you have
wheels. I think it's a
it
good
looks
choice.
cool. Can we ship lowered K trucks?
This one won't be a problem, but
Okay.
anything that has like the really low front lip, those ones get problematic.
I see.
You're asking that because we've had troubles with
Yes.
several of them, right?
Yes. Just trying to make sure.
Yeah.
It looks cool. With the
This
little
one would also be less of a problem because this has coilovers in the front, so it can be raised up.
Yeah, those
Ah,
Hello Specials,
mhm.
they just put the springs in, and then you have to convert to coilovers if you want to lift it.
Okay. Do we have a good idea of what kind of fun video we need to do when someone buys this?
Drifting on the street. We can go to Shibuya and do the drifting thing.
There's that one guy on Instagram, right, who's always drifting his carry in the snow.
That one guy on Instagram.
I did see those videos, and I think the police.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well.
Yeah. Okay, next car on our list.
Yeah, I had to include
Yes.
an 8.6 of some sort.
That actually looks pretty sweet, doesn't it?
This
On
is,
Longchamps,
Haha.
It-
just like
yes.
we were talking about.
Yep, and so weirdly, this is an 8411 that's had the front end converted to a Koki Trueno.
Which is the opposite of what people used to do, right? Because the
Because
8.6 was
reasons.
just like the Cell 80.
Yeah.
People would convert to 11 front ends.
And Grant,
It's also been swapped to an AE92 high compression engine, which is a neat little win. But it also has all of the usual 8.6 things. It's been repaired from multiple crashes. It's got lots of rust. It's got repairs from more rust.
It's got most of an interior, though. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty rare for these.
Unknown mileage from gauge cluster shenanigans, because of course it does. Like it's everything you get in an 8.6 these days. Some good stuff, a lot of bad stuff. Take it as it is.
Oh, it's been converted to power windows.
I think in Japan you could get it as power windows on some options.
But look at the door card. It's got a little blank for where your crank handle would normally be.
oh, fun.
that is true. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I believe that you could option them with power windows here.
And air conditioning and power steering.
So
It's
cool.
also the Koki front end and everything.
So the late model one.
What's up?
I learned at one of the 8.6 events that I went to that we spoke to an elderly dude who has like a magazine stuff, and he said the 11 was the version of the 8.6 that was more popular with men when the car was new, and then the Trueno was more popular with women because it was cute. Like,
Which one do you prefer?
of course, the pop-ups. Speaking from my feminine side.
Snack.
Of course, pop-ups are superior. So they converted it from 11 to a pop-up. Oh, so cool. Grant, what do you
8.6s
think
are
this one will
amazing.
sell for? And
I'm sorry, I do not have the availability to talk right now.
okay,
So unknown, I can answer this. Unknown mileage, corrosion on the side sill, corrosion on the hatch. Hatch corrosion is not so bad. You can get fiberglass hatches now. Accident looks like it was fairly rough. Corrosion hole in the rear floor, underside corrosion. Exterior has been fully repainted and the paint is wavy. They don't tell you all the modifications that it has, which is going to be all the case for all of these. Looks good. These ones can be a little bit hard to price simply because the condition differences can be so wide because they're so old and such a common car to modify that like really it helps to go see the car in person. But this one's at JU Fukushima, which is not an auction that most people ever go to. It's a very small auction, and that will keep the price down because people won't be able to see the car in person and then go, yes, it's a good one, I'll extra pay for this. I suspect, I don't know 8.6 prices too well. I suspect probably in the range of about 3 million or high 2 millions. Maybe even over 3 million if it's really good.
I'm interested to see how much this one goes for.
We could say on the next show.
Start price is 180,000 yen.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's try to keep that in mind.
Yeah, we'll put it on the list. Good car. On to the third one here. And this is a 1990 Toyota Soarer. And the Soarer, if you guys don't know, is basically a Toyota Celica, but the more mature version of one. And they were very popular in the 80s and 90s here in Japan. They're one of the cars that even car people, non-car people, know the name of. And they go, oh, I had a boyfriend that had one of those cars, for example, and are speaking like it's a big deal. They were generally more like a Supra in a suit, but like more technologically advanced. They had like a digital dashboard in it and a higher end interior with the features that the Supra never got. This engine here is and a weird thing that I believe only Japan does, a 2-liter inline 6-cylinder, so that they can still get under the 2-liter for engine tax reasons, but it's more premium than a 4-cylinder, even though you don't get a huge benefit from a 6-cylinder. But in advertising in the 80s, it worked. 6 cylinders would be a big engine here in Japan.
But it's still 2 liters.
Yeah, kind of weird, but honestly pretty cool. The engine was of the same series as the 4AGE, but people don't tend to love the engine so much as that. I am not a huge fan of these engines, even though they're a twin-turbo 2-liter. You would think I would love them, but the engine feels a little asthmatic to me. And they did have this engine with naturally aspirated, supercharged, and turbocharged. But the supercharged version of that is probably the reason why I don't like superchargers. It is a terrible engine. It's a 2-liter supercharged engine. It puts out like 155 horsepower or something like that. Like 5 more horsepower than the non-supercharged one.
Wait, the 2-liter put out 250?
I'm pulling the numbers out of my butt. So,
Okay.
But it was a very low amount of power. I think it was somewhere around 150 to 160 horsepower. And it doesn't feel good to drive. So condition-wise, we are looking at accident damage, but they called this an R small, so a light accident. 220,000 kilometers with both a D-grade interior and exterior. While the condition is not super good, body or interior, it also hasn't been restored, and that gives it a little bit of a easier to restore vibe, because you know that nothing has been restored, if you know what I mean. If you have a car and it has been repainted and the rust wasn't dealt with properly, it will come back, and then to refix it when it's already been fixed can be trouble, because you don't really know exactly how bad it is underneath everything.
Yeah.
Has a little bit of rust on the body, but generally not too bad. Some bad paint everywhere, so it's going to need a repaint. Otherwise, honestly, not too bad. AC needs to be fixed. Has some cigarette burns on the interior, as most of these cars at this age would. And I just really like the Soarer. I just like it a lot.
They do look very cool.
Price-wise for this, maybe in the 1.5 to 2 million yen range.
Yeah, it was sold as uninspected at USS Tokyo about a month ago for 1.1 and change, so I'd guess they went about 1.5, 1.6 for it.
So uninspected means that the person sent it to auction without, like, it could have been a broken car at that time, and then someone looked at the car and went, oh, I can fix this.
Yep.
Most likely fixed something, and then sent it to auction
Well,
again.
weirdly, it went to uninspected as a purchased from user, which I don't see often.
Oh,
So, yeah.
if the value of the car is low enough, sometimes someone will just throw it into the low price section, but this definitely isn't the type of car that somebody would do that on. For that's mostly like
Sometimes
Toyota
you get
Vitz or
dealers
something.
who have no clue what they have, though.
It is true that that
Maybe.
happens, but I don't think that it happens on this type of car. I still think that the the value difference is very marginal. Like the sales price at a ungraded section, the seller is paying 5,000 yen compared to 10,000 yen. So it's only an extra $40 to list it at the right place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty rare for people to be like, I want to save $40 by not getting this inspected.
That is true.
Okay, so as usual, you buy any of these cars, you're going to you get a special video, a comedy video, perhaps,
All
or
sorts
just
of.
cool. It'll be something a little bit different.
No, it will be a cool video. We need to let them know what they're going to get so that they actually want to buy a car. So it's
Yeah.
going to be a cool video
Okay.
that you can share.
It'll be Max's definition of a cool video.
Cool. Yeah.
How are they going to get the 10,000 yen benefit? I can't remember what I agreed to.
If they guessed your favorite movie, which brings us to this week at PCA.
Okay, so we're going to get into this, and I'm going to be pretty quick on saying what my favorite movie is and the reason why. And the reason why has only been cemented in recent years. I think that there are a lot of people that misunderstand a reality, assuming that their reality is what everyone else's reality is. And somebody's lived experiences can be very different from one person to the next. If you grew up where money was always a problem, or if you grew up with a single mom, or if you grew up always being bullied, then your understanding of life is going to be completely different from somebody who is on the other end of either of those things or any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's so easy to kind of see interactions with people as a, like, what would I do in this situation? Then project that onto the other person and then get confused or upset when they don't make decisions or they don't believe things that you do. And I think a movie that really encapsulates this in a really nice way.
Are you going to name drop now?
Yeah.
Do you want people to give more chances? Like,
Nope. We are name dropping the movie. Back to the Future and Monster Inc. are both fantastic movies, but it isn't the one. Look who's talking. Actually, I prefer the sequel to that, Mr. Gulliver. The movie is The Nightmare Before Christmas.
okay.
You wanted to go. We got 20 minutes left in the show,
right,
dude.
You're right.
The Nightmare Before Christmas. And on top of the reasons, so to start with, fantastic musical. Every track, and that is amazing. And the tracks very nicely display the story through the music, something you guys know that I like. The look and the feel of the movie is awesome. And being an art nerd growing up, the fact that it's all done as claymation, when you're into art, when that comes out, it's like, whoa, this is very, very cool. But Jack, the main character, misunderstands everything, even though he has good intentions throughout the entire thing. This is a movie where your protagonist is also the antagonist because he really screws things up for everybody, but only because he is seeing the world in his own point of view. He comes from Halloween Town, and his whole life is about spreading the joy through creepiness and monsters and stuff like that. So when he goes into the real world, he's looking at the world through the lens of everything that he knows, his own lived experiences. And so this is a movie that has a moral of the story, like old fables tales, right? And it especially hits strong because, one, it doesn't paint this moral too heavily. It's just a story point of it. The more you think of it, the more you kind of associate it with the problems in how life is and how you should act, and it's not shoving it down your throat. And the timing when this came out was when Disney was ruining this the entire time, because their whole MO is, let's take this story that was made to have a moral and we'll strip the morals out of it because we want to sell movies, and that's what people want. It's a case of giving people what they want instead of giving people what they need. And it's not done in a way of saying, you need this, I'm smarter than you, I'm pretentious. It is just a good movie with a really nice underlying story or theme of, try to understand other people from a lens outside of your own. And I really think that the world could use more of that.
Good take.
That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah. While you were talking about the movie, I was checking if I have pictures for the things we wanted to talk about.
Oh,
We
I
don't.
didn't put them in.
You didn't put them in, no?
Oh, crap.
So I'm sorry, guys, you don't get to see a picture of poo on the road. Which might be
In the next
appreciated.
episode, I will show you poo on a road. It's actually a walking path, so it's more like a poo on a walking path. So we'll have to skip that. We'll have to skip the next one, and we'll have to skip the next one. And I'm sorry, everyone, for not doing that. So now let's talk about The Nightmare Before Christmas a little bit more.
No, we talk about the tier
The
list.
scene where Jack is realizing this entire thing,
We're
and
talking
he's
about
in the
tier
cemetery,
list. So this is the...
and it's in a song format, so you know it's going to be good. And he realizes what he's done wrong, and then instead of being a dickhead and doubling down, which what most people would do, he now has an urge to make it better, and so he now tries to re-save Christmas when previously he thought he was saving Christmas. And so he is the good guy at the end of the story, even though he was the dickhead in the middle of the story.
Character development.
Round character development instead of static character
So Derek
development.
brought some snacks I am eager to try.
Because I've been hyping them up, and now I fear that I may have been hyping them up too much.
So I'm gonna open them now. And I'm gonna make this a thing. And we also had the frisks from 2 or 3 episodes back.
Grego says, make Derek sing it. I wonder if this is in reference to me constantly saying how bad of a singer I am. I have actually made people leave when I was at karaoke.
I asked him the same question when he started to talk about the movie in the office. When you started, I was like, are you going to sing?
There will be no singing.
Okay, I'm going to
Ever.
try these now.
So it's chocolate covered, kind of like a curly cookie with filling inside that is a kind of a white chocolate tasting kind of filling.
These are pretty good. Very good.
I guess I can't see it very easily, but if you like white, you have to like white chocolate to like these.
White chocolate is awesome.
You want to pass those? Oh, you got the headphones on. Hey, Grant.
Yeah.
You got a second? Can you bring snacks over there and eat them? Yep. I know it's a hard ask. Your manager is asking you to eat snacks.
Okay. While we think about that one, do you like where do we put the frisk?
Grant, can you give some to other people too?
It's only Maki.
Oh, can you give some to Maki?
I did, yes.
Oh, okay.
I did that first.
Can you give some to other people? Well, it's only Makiko here, so now.
Yeah. First.
Okay, go on.
The frisks. Do you remember what everyone said in the office? The frisks were.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where do we put them?
They kind of
silence.
they stay in your mouth for a little bit. I didn't want to talk with like chocolatey tongue. I never want to talk with chocolate tongue. So, the frisks. You had one, and you were like, S tier.
Yeah.
And I had one, and I was like, this is good. But it takes some time to get through it.
And then it went down the ranks.
It definitely goes down the rank.
We got
odd,
another-
It's odd tasting, actually. The peach version of the Frisk Mint. I think the regular Frisk Mints are fine, but the peach one has a weird taste to it in the aftertaste
Yeah, the
that a lot of
aftertaste.
people didn't like.
We've just got another super chat.
Oh, yeah. From the same guy.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. You know what we need to do is get those icons that, like, if you are a regular member, you can pay a monthly fee and then you get special icons. Do you know how to do that?
I know how to do it, and I already have a little file with ideas on what icons I would want to make for each of the different tiers. Would you guys actually be interested in paying for having extra stuff on the show? That's kind of like one thing I always think about, if that's
Right. And I
weird
feel
of
like
us doing or not.
in general, the bigger the streamer, the more that's acceptable. And
Yeah.
with the smaller streamer, it does seem a little bit like a little weird. Like, I don't know how people feel about that because I'm not somebody who watches streaming. So
Yeah.
I may be...
And that's Guluru. This is the question that comes up.
I want to eat another one.
What extra stuff? I don't know. We don't know.
Is Grandpa-
I want to fund to buy Max some proper rims.
That was harsh.
I mean,
We should have an opposite like a negative super chat. Like if somebody says something that is so out there, they have to pay for it.
Okay.
So watching the show can be risky.
Is there a way to give each member an icon of specific car of choice?
I don't
if
know
you
how
can-
it works on the technical side.
Yeah, I can look into it. But if you can choose from like a set of icons to represent which cars you have, that would be kind of neat.
Like they do in Reddit, right? Like there's some subreddits that do that.
Yeah, I'll look into it. So the frisk. Let's make this quick because we have a few questions.
D.
D?
Yeah.
Nah.
What do you say?
At least C.
A lot of I asked everybody, and I put it on a piece of paper, and there were many people who either said D or C.
Okay, then I don't have anything in my hands against that.
Wait, you said at least how much?
C, so I would move it like lower C, maybe.
I know you said D, and I said C, so I'll compromise with C.
Okay. D.
What is it in the same group with?
The looks and the...
The looks were bad. The top was I didn't think were that bad. Oh no, the top was just yeah.
Mr. Guluru, I did not go over your question. I was just saying this is what I think about with this question a lot. What is the things that we can actually provide as extra when you pay for stuff? Because I don't want to provide stuff that's sort of weak.
Okay.
Yeah, let's leave it at D. But these.
The Elise. Oh, the name of it is Elise, which is the Japanese pronunciation for Elise, the exact same as the Lotus car.
Mm-hmm.
So Elise W. White. Max, what the heck is a W doing there? Because you understand this, but other people don't.
I don't understand this.
You don't know?
No.
Okay, so W
Is
in
a
Japanese
repaint.
is pronounced dabu, which sounds like the Japanese word for double.
Okay, makes
So
sense.
in advertising, it's commonly used to mean double of something. So it's double white. So it's kind of like our show, isn't it?
Double.
Elise double white.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it seems like this is a fairly new snack because we just noticed it, and my wife is a snack connoisseur. Snack is really the
word of the show
day, isn't
today.
it?
Oh, I'm gonna rename it the snack show.
Cool snack show. So the Elise double white. I like these, but I think there are other snacks that are better than it, but not by an awful lot. So I'm thinking either A or S.
A. Grant, what do you think?
Grant's in the bathrooms, and he has
No,
this
he
weird
just-
hang up
he
where
just
he
left
doesn't
his
want to
table.
talk while he's in the bathroom.
Okay, we decide A tier.
Sorry, yeah, I agree with A on that.
Cool.
Grant is here doing actual work. Thank you very much.
Well, you should go to the... Never mind. Grant, can you pass me one more Elise double white?
I don't know. I might be too busy in the bathroom.
I saw you go in. I didn't see you come out.
I went to the garbage.
Do you ever worry, Grant, that the bathroom sounds are going to be picked up on the microphone?
Yes, which is why I don't do it during the show.
A moment
Okay.
of silence while we try to hear somebody in the toilet.
Q&A is the next part of our show today. Have you guys tried the new Nope drink?
I've never heard of it.
I have not.
So my answer is nope.
I've seen it everywhere. And I am proud to say that it's been close 10 months without any sugar caffeine type of drink. So I'm not
My name is
drinking it.
Maximilian Scheffler, and it has been 3 months since my last time.
Yep. It's like a circle of addicts. Caffeine addicts. So no, I have not tried it.
So it's nope, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why was this asked about? Is it popular or something?
Yeah, it is. It is a big thing at the moment because they try to push this drink like crazy. Everywhere is like advertisements for it. All the supermarkets have lots of Nope bottles just staying around.
How does somebody outside of Japan know about it?
I don't know.
Something
People who
that's-
like Japan probably look into it. What's popular in Japan at the moment? So that is popular.
I think it's a psyop. That's a word I'm seeing all over the internet now, is psyop.
Mm-hmm.
So I just I've heard the word. I kind of understand what it meant, so I had to look it up. And apparently, it's a political movement where government pays to brainwash people. So,
Yeah, like you.
So I think the Nope company has paid influencers to make it seem like it is more popular than it actually is, because that kind of advertising, I believe, is very popular in Japan.
By the way, if you guys have more questions, please put them in the chat. The next question was, what would you name your drift club?
I think that's a good question, but I'd like to think about it a little bit more. We called our racing team Gaijin Escape, which is a little bit taboo, because there are some foreigners who think the word Gaijin is a little bit too close to like our version of the N-word.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand it to some sense,
Mm-hmm.
but personally, I don't really see it that way.
Mm-hmm. Something about destroyers, because it's just fun, because you destroy cars when drifting.
Oh yeah, it does make sense. It's funny, this sort of thing I always find I'm really good at doing when I'm not thinking about it, but when I try to think about it, I can't think of anything funny.
Deutsche Destroyers.
And then their team name could be Double D's, like your nickname.
Yeah, initial DD. Initial.
You should add more D's somehow. You can have some alliteration in there, and it could be initial D D D D D. Sort of like the wagon R R R.
Yeah. Next question. Have you guys dealt with integrity exports?
Integrity exports? My experience with them is very limited. I used to post on a web forum that we talked about how we don't have a good history in. And integrity exports was this was a long time ago, like 15 to 20 years ago. They were also one of the sponsors, and then they came in while we were established users of the site, and they came in, paid for the sponsorship, which is what you had to do if you wanted to post on it, which is not a bad rule. And then they were trying to advertise their services, and I believe it was the owner of the company that was doing this, and he seemed to be understanding how the dynamic works. You come to one of those forums, and if you're trying to advertise, like all your comments are about sales and look at us and we're so good, then it's not going to be received very well. And instead they were trying to be helpful, which is, I think, the right thing to do. I don't know anything else about them as a company. That's my only experience with them. I do wonder why somebody asked about that.
I wonder too.
It's I think that if you ask us, I'm going to say that it comes down to our level of trust with our viewers. They think that we're going to be completely unbiased about what we say. But generally speaking, if you ask a company how their competition is, you don't expect to get an unbiased answer, right? You ask the internet provider how the other internet provider is, they'll be like, oh, way worse than us. They suck. And they don't shower.
Even though... I think you are quite good at handling these questions, though.
But nobody else at the company, just you, Derek.
There's also later question, but I see. They ask, are you familiar with Zep Auto Exports?
I know of them. I don't know an awful lot about them. Most of my marketing research kind of stuff happened a longer time ago, and now that we've been in business for so long and have been established as much, my level of I feel like we put the company together in a way that makes a very strong value for our customers, and because that has been my focus, it's not so important for our company to always be watching what our competitors do and then reacting to that, because I feel like our services sell themselves to some extent. Not to some extent, to a very strong extent. And I don't feel like we need to do any sort of tricks or very significant marketing as a way to promote the company over whatever another company is doing. I think it's the old-fashioned way of, if you make the best hammer, people will come to buy a hammer from you. As somebody in the comments said Zap Exports charges the 10% tax. I don't know that personally, so I'm not ready to say that on the show, but I will say that it is something that happens with a lot of exporters because it's an easy way to sneak in a huge amount of extra profits on what you're selling without the customer even really knowing. And a little bit salacious here, Max. We had a customer send in an invoice from a competitor of a car that they bought, and we were trying to prep it for this show, but we needed to do more research about it. So on the next show, we're going to show a version of an invoice for somebody that is one of our competitors that is absurdly more expensive because of a really expensive purchase fee, but also many little hidden things, and we're going to dissect it.
And in combination to what Spaghetti Software says, usually when you talk about your competition, don't do it or try to be positive. We want this to be something that is educational, right? Do we?
We are not going to show who the competition is because, for one, we don't want to start fights with people who may be willing to fight us in an underhanded way. It's like if somebody is like, oh, well, they're hurting my business, so now I get to do whatever I want to hurt their business. I'm going to bombard them with negative reviews on Google or something like that. It's not the kind of game that we want to be playing, so we're going to keep it secret who it is. But I think it's a good example. Like, we talk about this frequently, and I think people, for the most part, believe us. But I think also people don't realize how widespread that it is, that sneaky little things are happening. And when you actually have proof on paper, I think it's good to show that. I think it is true. You don't want to be bad-mouthing your competition because that does look bad. But at the same time, I think that it's also not fair that you get to do things like charge the consumption tax for customers when they don't even know enough to know that they don't know enough in this to avoid it. That kind of business bothers me a lot. So, yeah, a thin line you have to walk, and I do consider that.
Quick fire question round. What do you guys think of early chassis numbered cars? Do those have more value?
I don't think it's more value. Some people stay away from the early production ones because that's when little bugs were being worked out. So if you love a certain car, you're safer to buy the later versions, which already may have gotten some of the recalls on things or little improvements here or there. With Japanese cars in the 90s, that doesn't happen as much because, for one, they usually were pretty good from the get-go, well engineered and things like that. And we sell mostly older cars, and the older cars, you're sometimes better getting the newer version of them as well. I think it's a fun little thing to have. We just sold a car that had a chassis number 10001979, which is like 1979, and I thought that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
And we have, you can tell that they're serialized. So a production was 10000001 would be the first one ever made. You won't buy that because that'll be a pre-production version of it that's not on the market. But if you have one that's 00016, it's like, I got a low one, that's fun. But I don't think there's any value that you get from having that.
Okay, Griff writes, when do the new style videos drop?
When do they?
April 30th is the first one.
The new style PCA videos where I'm in front of the camera and you're making fun of me.
Correct.
Okay. That actually doesn't happen.
No. He makes fun of me.
And I will say that I think that the first one that's going up is a departure from what we normally do, and I think it is very good. I also think that we are
getting better.
We are fiddling with it a little bit to make it even better as we go. So try watching the first few to get a better idea of how we're going to be producing these.
If you had a magic time machine that is strangely shaped like a parking garage, what car would you go back in time and bring back to the future?
I love the style of that.
Yeah, the question is great.
You can bring back any car from the past. You can just steal the car and put it in your time machine, or you still have to buy it.
It's just basically the question is, if you can get any car, which car would you get in perfect new condition? Okay, so here's a right. This goes into exactly what I was saying. The dynamic here is that if your favorite car is the NSX, the NA1 version of that, then surely you want to get that, right? But the thing is, you can get one of those that is still very close to the original condition
because it was always respected and held together and maintained well. But you know what car wasn't? Was the 8.6, which, although it's less of a flashy car, by now you simply can't find them in original condition. They don't exist. So if having one of those in the very original condition with 150 kilometers on it is rarer and more sought after than an NSX with 150 kilometers on it.
I kind of like the Gularu's idea of getting a Bugatti Type 57 SC Atlantic, then sell it, and then buy all the cars. Yeah, I kind of want to do the same.
Yeah.
Okay, just very quick, what car do you daily?
My Honda minivan, Elysian, is mostly the car that I drive. I just got the Corolla back from the shop, and Grant and I are going to do carb tuning and balancing for the first time. Because we went to the shop, and then it stopped running, and it turned out to be a loose wire. But they tried to get it running by dialing the carburetor around and left it out of tune. So the carburetor is very much not in tune right now, and it is not fun to drive.
I drive a Toyota Altezza RS200 manual,
So
Z
cool.
edition.
And
TRD.
we are taking your car and my Corolla and Grant's Swift and Mike's Type R and
Our
the March
secret
race
car.
Our secret car.
Our secret car.
Ignore what I
because
said there.
Jacob's car isn't allowed on track.
To Tsukuba in May.
Yeah.
I don't think we announced that yet, have
No.
we?
No, this is the
And so this
announcement
is
at the
a
end of the show.
Yeah, this is a Mike going away thing. All of the PCA, not all of the PCA people, but several of the PCA people are going to go to a racetrack and then drive around and see how much faster than my Corolla y'all are.
And we are all frantically throwing our money at our cars right now to get
You are.
everything ready.
Yep. No.
My
Anyway.
car will be in the same condition it is now, save for the tuning of the carburetor.
But you also spend a lot of money on the brakes.
But I would have spent that money whether I went racing or
Yeah,
not.
Anyway. Okay. Then I will start the timer. We have 30 seconds to end the show.
Oh, we went over again, eh?
Yep.
By a little bit. Okay.
So say your final words.
Wait a second, I'm going to count.
Thank you for watching today. I'm
5
sorry.
seconds.
I'm sorry for having the stream scheduled
10 seconds, okay?
in the evening instead of the morning.
Bye, guys.
Next time we will talk about poo. And
I hope that the song ends right now because I don't want to.
I found a car that... So the poo is a very JDM story.
It's
The
going
car is a
to-
very JDM story. And this other one is a very JDM story. So
Well,
look forward to
goodbye,
that.
so long, cause we really gotta go. See you next week on a cool JDM show.
But Abs,
What up?
I got so much on my plate.
Man, relax. Let me demonstrate. Put your headphones on and start multitasking. Listen to the show while running some laps. Then stretching your calves. Then go have a bath. Then let the cat out. Then let the cat back in. Then let it back out again. Then let
Yeah,
it
we can move on from the cat thing, Abs. I get it.
Oh, really? Then get this, Mr. Smartass. You can also listen while attending an art class.
Damn, Abs, you did it again.
Yeah. Just don't forget to tell a friend. The cool JDM show, the coolest around. Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell the whole damn town. Tell the doctor, tell the nurse, tell the secretary, tell the librarian in the library. Tell the cop trying to give you a speeding ticket.
Officer, the cool JDM show, don't miss
To
it.
which you'll reply, you're free to go, cause that podcast is so unbelievable.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna tell everyone that I know.
To tune in to the cool JDM show.